Just say that, first of all, it's hilarious to watch Britain completely fucking implode over every single move that Harry and Meghan makes. I think it's fucking hilarious. I think it's really fucking weird the way they literally treat the royal family like deities, but that's a whole nother thing. The way when people are like, oh, they want to be left alone, they want privacy, they just want to be quiet, so why won't they shut the fuck up? Why are they still talking? Why are you still this? Why are they still that? Bitch, when you've been abused, when you have been mistreated, and when you've spent years just being literally at the mercy of basically everybody else to tell your fucking story and characterize you, and them painting you as a fucking villain, and especially in Meghan's case when you're a fucking black woman, and then there's Harry, who is obviously fucking white, but he has a whole life of just bullshit and trauma and shit that is, even though he's privileged, it's still trauma. Yeah, you want to be able to tell your story on your own terms as an abuse victim. And some of you that have been rocking with me for a long time, you remember when I put out an entire little expose on YouTube about my abuser, naming her by fucking name, bringing on basically the stories of people that had been abused by her as well in the same way. And let me tell you, like, that shit was not easy. That shit was not easy. Like, I had ideations and shit, like, very soon after, because revisiting that was not easy. But I had reached a point in my life, and certain things were happening and people were coming forward and stuff, that I'm like, no, I want to be able to tell my own story. No, I want to fucking control the narrative, because when you're being fucking abused, you don't get to control the narrative. When you're going through like narcissistic abuse and every type of abuse, you don't get to control very often your own narrative. Somebody else is doing it for you. Somebody else is silencing you. And very often you have to just walk around acting like everything is fine, or acting like you deserve what's coming to you. Act like you deserve what's happening to you. And that sucks. That feeling of not being in control. I think for me, the feeling of not being in control was one of the biggest parts of the trauma for me. Like, just not being able to do anything, having basically no course of action, because like my abuser, she tried to cut off my ability to get legal counsel, which she legally cannot fucking do, even as an Air Force commander. But the bitch was bold. And the royal family, not that my situation is anything near theirs, but it's a situation where you have no avenues to seek help. You have no, at least none that are gonna fucking take you seriously. At least none of them fucking take you seriously as an Air Force officer back then, at the mercy of another officer. There was very little I could do. There's very little I could do, and the agencies that I went to for help honestly fucking failed me, because she tried to block those too. I was in a situation in which all my avenues to get help were blocked. And again, not the same thing as Harry and Meghan living as royals, but it really seems like any way for them to get help, a lot of the ways for them to get help were completely fucking blocked. And so, yeah, when you go through that kind of, not only the trauma of the actual like base trauma, but then the trauma of like not being able to do anything about it, not being able to say anything, like not being able to do anything about it. Like, of course, yeah, you're gonna want to speak the fuck up. And it's completely possible to want privacy and to be separate from that abuse, and still want to speak the fuck up and tell your story. Them speaking up does not preclude them from doesn't preclude any abuse victim from having the right to privacy. That's not how shit works, So if all the shit that they are saying is true, and as of this moment I believe it, let it roll, baby. Let it fucking roll. Let it fucking roll.